Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev.
Hello. I love it.
Learning to push the right buttons on a different laptop. So
Nice.
push all the
Nice.
right buttons.
We were talking about color therapy in our last video, and I love the colors on your shirt. Looks like there's blues and oranges, almost into reds.
Yeah,
It's freaking
coral.
nice. Yeah, a lot of pretty colors on there.
Thanks.
Yep, I
Thank
love it.
you. And you're very colorful as well there in the background.
Oh yeah, I'm
As
trying to
all,
match your shirt.
yeah. Well, this is what we do.
It's so cool.
We do
And
that.
it's color therapy. When you think about color therapy, that is color therapy. The grabbing the clothes that you're going to wear for the day is color therapy.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So we were talking a little bit last time about a disease. We were talking about throat chakra area. So you'd want to go find the colors that resonate with that chakra that you're, or part of the body you're having a problem with that. So I mean, if you couldn't stay grounded all the time, it's finding red clothes to wear. Maybe you don't like to wear red, so wear red undergarments. Red socks, a red ponytail. Like there's so many different ways to incorporate colors and to notice them. I always have different colors in my hair. Right now, I've got blue and green up here, and I don't know what I've got in the top one. Blues, probably, but it's like I'm always mixing colors. I may not have like I've got a lot of gray and silver and black on right now, but it's like underneath my clothes is a different story.
Right.
And then I throw on some pink socks, right? Because
Yep.
that's like the heart chakra area. And I've been wearing jewelry because I feel more feminine these days. So I gravitate towards my jewelry and I want to look more feminine. It's an interesting time when you think about, I hear people talking about how the feminine the divine feminine energy is getting stronger. And I say divine feminine because I don't want to get stuck in the idea of feminism or anything. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of that stuff. I'm not going to judge it. It's not my stuff. But the divine feminine, because we all have the divine feminine and the divine masculine within, but I feel like the divine feminine, which is our intuition, everything is really coming to the surface even more. I feel like we've been watching this as a progression. We've been living it. We've been going along with this experience. And I've noticed more and more that, like I said, I'm wearing my jewelry again, which I wasn't wearing for years. I like to wear my bracelets and I try to pick out any bracelets with, crystals on it just because I just like to wear crystals. Before I used to gravitate towards that stuff because I was looking, oh, it's like, oh, that one will do this, that one will do that, and that one will do this. It's supposed to be beneficial to make me more confident. I'll be able to go, all these things. I can get more money, like all this stuff. It's like all these things uh, that we think about with the crystals and stuff like that. But when we think about it, there is a higher frequency to the crystals. So this is going to address maybe I'm a little bit depleted that day, or maybe I'm vibing and matching those crystals. Who knows? So it's like I'm always constantly adding colors in all shapes and sizes any way I can, whether it's through jewelry, it doesn't matter. It can even be makeup, hair clips, like everything. Any way I can find a way to put color on, I do it.
I hear you. I do that too. I'm pretty intentional with my undergarments. Pair of underwear. It's like I'll just be pulled to a color. I'm like, yep, wearing that color today. So um, when I teach a class, I'm mindful of what I'm wearing, es- even on the outside, but um, all the way undergarments, stones in my pocket, socks, whatever it might be. I'm pretty intentional about getting dressed most days.
I love it. Well, which is so great because that almost sets you into the place of being in awareness and intention all day long. I mean, it starts you off that way. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So if anyone's wondering how to do it, it's like that's one of the ways to do it. That's changing things right there already. And you can
Yeah.
even set it up the night before, like get into the intention of what you want your day to look like. Not that I mean, maybe you do that. I don't know, but I'm just saying for anybody else that's like watching, there's ways to set ourselves up to succeed.
Yeah, and interesting enough, there have been countless times I think, okay, I'm gonna pick out my outfit for tomorrow so then I don't have to think about it and I'll be ready, la la la, right? Less time and energy. And the next morning I'll go in to get ready and I'll have the clothes hanging there that I picked the night before and I'm not attracted to it.
Isn't that funny? I bet you it's because your vibrational frequency is different that night when you picked it
Yep.
out versus that morning that's fresh. So there's that.
Yep. And
Makes a lot of sense to me.
it'll be a completely different color palette. I'm just like, so I kind of, unless it's something specific, let's say I'm doing a wedding or um, something where I know I have to wear something fairly specific for the event or whatever I'll be doing, then I can do that. But just on a general daily basis,
Yeah.
I did it. I did it. So today's Wednesday for us, on Sunday night. Sunday night, I pulled out an outfit. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll wear this tomorrow." The next morning, I'm like, "Nope, not wearing it."
That's funny. I never put my clothes out the night before. Usually for me, it's I go in and grab whatever I get attracted
Yeah,
to as soon as I walk into the closet. So as far as that goes, but I thought it might be beneficial, like just to help people set intentions better, or to well, maybe instead of picking out the clothes the night before, maybe it's like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning. It's gonna be the greatest day ever because every day is the
right,
greatest day ever, and it's like I'm gonna no matter what you do, it's just you're dressed for success. You're dressed for joy, for peace, for happiness that whole day.
right. Yeah. And then this is something I was going to say a while ago is because we were talking about how colorful you are, and then I wear this colorful shirt, and probably at least 4 out of the 5 days here at work, there's five of us, and we will all either be wearing the same color or same color palette 4 out of the 5 days.
That's nice.
So I just, those are things I pay attention to. When I
Nice.
teach classes, I notice what colors I'm wearing and then noticing what color the students are, what they have on. And
Yeah.
really interesting. And you could take it. So I've had it where, let's say there's I'll just use colors. So let's say there's like a coral and then like group of people wearing a coral oranges type of colors. And then there's people are wearing maybe the darker blues and stuff. And then I would show up with something like this to blend the two. So frequently that happens in my classes.
Nice.
And I'll point it out. Let the students see that. I'm like, okay, I need you guys stand over here. I need you guys stand over here. And then the ones that are blending the two stand in the middle. And they're just as fascinated by it as I am. Just like, this is so cool.
Yeah. And I would tell you that I've noticed that like when I would go to the gym, I would always notice what color I had on and what color everybody else had on. And I would be surprised how
Yeah.
many of us would have same side of the color palette or the same color, but numerous different versions of that color, or even the same exact men and women. Like I could have a deep plum shirt on and a guy can walk in with a plum shirt on. It
Yeah.
was interesting. It would happen a lot, but I did pay notice to that really.
Yeah. And then my boss, and then the other thing is like for us here at work is who decided on their outfit first, right? Did you pick out your outfit the night before? About what time did you get? I know about what time I get dressed every day. So I'm like, it, I'm probably picking up on my boss more than she's picking up on me 'cause she gets dressed earlier than I do. So it's
Mhm.
just, it's always so fascinated that connection that we form with the people we are around the most.
Yeah,
Because you got
it's
to
true.
figure, I spend probably 40 plus hours a week with these people at work, and how mm, in tune we are or blended energies we are with each other. Yeah, but we do that with our spouses or our kids. If you gave birth to a child, like my son doesn't live here in the same town I live in. He lives on the other side of the country, and uh you still pick up on their energy because they're still a part of the mother energy, the mother's child bond. So you can still pick up on that energies. Your bestie, you guys don't may not live together, but because you spend so much time together, you'll pick up on each other. So That's always very fascinating to me.
That's cool, but it's true. I've noticed it too.
I don't
It's fun.
I may have shared this story before, but it's kind of lengthy, but I'll keep it real short. Thinking about the mother-child energy, my grandparents used to go on motorcycle trips a lot. They loved it, and this one time they went on a trip, and they were in California, and my grandmother looked at my grandfather and said, "This is before cell phones and all the things, right?" And she said, "We need to go home right now. Something's not right." And like they had just got there. And so they packed everything up. And as they're heading back, um, well, when she picked up on that, my uncle had an incident that was physically damaging, and my mom had to take him and his friend to the hospital or call the ambulance for them to go to the hospital because it was that bad. And my grandmother knew. Like she was super in tune with her kids, and it
Nice.
was amazing. My mom, when I was really young, my grandparents lived where they lived. They lived there like for, I don't know, over 30 years. And my mom was in a different state. And my mom says she was standing there washing the dishes and she heard her name clearly from her mother. And she looked around to see if she was there, like surprise visit or something. Nothing's there. So she calls her mom, and her mom and my gram says, "I was just thinking about you."
You're giving me goosebumps.
Yeah, it happens so much in our family with the women.
Yeah. And you know, so I kind of told you off camera last time we had gotten together about how I've been working with my grandkids with telepathy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all the same thing. It's the same exact thing because because I can't because I can't be with them every moment of the day. They I mean I can't. They got to go to school. They are with their families and stuff because they're learning. They signed up to learn, but they also signed up because they knew that I was going to be in
Guide.
place. And so what when my grandson is unhappy about anything or whatever, he wants to just automatically come out to my house because that's his escape, right? He wants to get out of wherever he's at to go to the different energy for whatever reason. So whenever I feel his energy, so I said, well, I told him, let's practice this. When you start feeling stressed or even if I said, you don't have to be stressed out, you could be happy and just put your hand on your heart and just think about me. Imagine that you see my face. Well, his face has come right up in my mind's eye so that I knew he was thinking of me. And then I just tuned into what the energy was that he was feeling with it while he's in my space right now. And it was uncomfortable. Like I knew that he was unhappy about stuff. And so all I did was put my hand on my heart, but putting energy back. And it's like I let him know the next day, like, hey, I got your message. I told his mom, I said, tell Colton I got his message. And then he says, well, did she send me a message back? So it was just funny because I don't know how much he's recognizing, but I feel it. And it's like I'm working with my granddaughter to do the same thing. When you start feeling stressed, we don't have to be in that space of stress. Really, what I'm not trying to get them to be more dependent upon me. I'm trying to get them more dependent upon their intuition. So I'm trying to get them in that space because I'm not always going to be here. You know, I'm not. And when they start crying, it's like the other day I asked Colton, yesterday I asked Colton, I said, why do you guys always cry when you're not, when I drop you off at your parents' house? It's you're gonna see me again. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's just recognizing, but also recognizing kids live in the now. And so when they're having those emotions, they're expressing them right now. They're not going to put it inside typically until they learn how to do this, which is not a good thing, people. I'm just telling you. To be able to cram all of it inside and then let it go years later, or maybe at home in the shower, or when you're in your room and you can cry into your pillow or whatever. It's not necessary. But so I see why they have these feelings and stuff like that. I mean, it gets pretty dramatic, and it was making me feel bad, but it was making me feel bad because it was triggering me for something that I had with inside of me. So it was for me to sit in with all that stuff and kind of process that. And so now when I'm dropping them off and they start they're crying and stuff, I just give them a hug and tell them I love them. and I'll put my hand on my heart and it's like I'll be talking to you in a little while. So it's like I want them to know, and it's a lot of us came from those Sarah's books from uh which ones I'm
Yeah,
talking
Esther
about.
Hicks.
Esther and Jerry Hicks, they're on the both on the title for that. And they're good books because it does give you that example. It gives you the idea of astral traveling with your kids or with friends. And to me, for me, I believe anything is possible. And it's like if my body can rest in its bed and me go out partying with my grandkids, like we could go to Disneyland or we could go to Europe or we could go to wherever, we could go to another planet. I mean, really, it's just whatever we think, whatever our intentions. It goes back to the beginning of it. It's whatever we intend. It's not whatever we think, because sometimes we're thinking out of our old template and the old subconscious things that we do.
And yeah, I wanted to go back to what you said. I'm not trying to make them dependent on me. What I got was you're somebody who's safe to practice with because even like you and I, we had to find somebody to practice with. We had to find somebody who's comfortable with, and you're providing that safe space for them to learn about it and practice it.
Yeah,
Like I had to attend classes. I had to like travel a lot because those types of things weren't available where we live. They are more so now, but back in the day they weren't. So I had to find people who taught things like that and go visit, before Zoom and all the things. So you're providing that safe zone of learning and practicing.
yeah. And I'm kind of just going with it because it wasn't something that I planned on, but besides those books really planted a seed within me. And that was a couple of years ago. But my grandkids are getting to an age now where they're understanding a lot of this stuff. And it's like, I love to listen to them. I don't know if I said it in the last video or not, but it's like I love to be present with them because I can tell you from my kids were little, I never really heard them because when I was a parent then, it was always, we got to get this done. We're going on to the next thing, get your homework done. Okay, you got to get a shower done. It was never stopping. How was your day? Yes, there was how was your day, but how much information are you going to give it? Because how much information are they going to give to the energy? Where was I at? Okay, well, how was your day? Okay, great. Well, that was great. Let's go on, not sitting with that space. And now when they stay the night with me, I get the opportunity to have conversations with them or just to listen to them. If they're just going to ramble on, that's fine too, because it's not rambling on. They're saying so much in those moments. And then the more and more I listen to them, the more and more I notice how they're really stepping into their own power and their confidence. They needed to be seen and heard. And so now I'm having an understanding of what does being seen and heard look like from a child perspective. So now that I have an opportunity to look at it, how do I do that with myself? These kids are freaking phenomenal. They're really helping me a lot. They really are.
And
They're
you're
helping
helping
me, but
them.
it's like exactly but it's back to the infinity, right? It's that ebb and flow. There's always a give and take. There always is. That's how you keep the balance. And so it's where do I want to spend my time at? Do I want to spend my time in the give and take with not feeling happy, or do I want to be happy and feeling that ebb and flow? I like that better. It just feels better.
Yep. And life experiences will happen and kind of offset you for a minute where it'll take you a little bit to get back on track and regroup your attention on what you're focused on. And that's the practice as well. That we are going along and things are good for a while, and then it's like, okay, the universe says, this is the way I think about it anyway. The universe says, okay, it's time for some more growth. So it just kind of knocks you off a little bit, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, right? I was doing so good, and now I've uh feel out of control, or I feel angry, or feel guilty, or feel ashamed. Like something comes up, and then it's a practice to kind of wiggle your way back into focus and alignment. And it's like you said earlier, it's a constant. It's going to be a practice um, for probably as long as you are breathing, as long as you want to participate
Yeah.
in the growth and expansion. And we don't have to. We can just say, you know what, screw it, I don't want to do this anymore, and just completely revert back to your old ways of being.
100%.
I know for me that didn't feel good. And so to have, and it takes, in most cases, when you're learning something new, it takes a lot of energy to stay focused on what you want, what you would like things to be like, and hold that vision and hold your vibrational frequency to attract those things. And yeah, it can feel trying, and at the same time, it's very rewarding when you can keep moving toward it.
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
all right. Well, that was pretty good. I love stories. I'm a storyteller. I teach by story, so
I love it.
finally recognize that about myself. I'll own it.
I've gained a lot of growth from those stories, so it's all good.
Awesome. Good. They're helping somebody
That's right.
besides
Every
me.
day.
All right, friends. So tell your stories, help somebody through your experiences, turn your mess into your message. And if you're not comfortable doing that, then be resourceful. Share the content, the teacher, the book, the podcast. Share that information with people who are desiring these conversations or have the conversations. And you can find us on many platforms. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. And there's probably a couple more in there that I forget to mention. I don't know. I need to get a list and put it in front of me, but I don't. Um, Anywho, any final words?
I just want to let everybody know that they matter.
Yeah.
Everybody matters. We're all here for a reason. I know I probably have said that before. I've said a lot of things before, but we hear it differently. And sometimes I'm in a different space to be able to even give it that message. But you all matter. That's why we're showing up. That's why I show up for my grandkids. That's why I show up for myself. And that's why I show up for everybody here too, because we
Yeah.
all matter.
Yep. We do. And that's if you know who Brendan Burchard is, he's a an business influencer, and he teaches a lot about teaches coaches how to get their businesses going, and uh but he does a lot more than that. But his tagline is, did I love, or did I live, did I love, did I matter? And he'll ask himself that every single day. So your line of you matter, you do. You do.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with us. Tea time with Amy and Bev. You could have done anything else with your time, but if you listen to us, we appreciate you and we appreciate you sharing the content. We will see you next time. Tea time with Amy and Bev.
Bye.